He was a punter in the NFL, played for the Chiefs, Ravens, and Eagles. Also punted in Europe.
NFL Europa.
The, Europa. Where is that?
We'll
find out. Oh,
it's
it is.
Europe.
It is. Thank you.
Close
for
to
that.
Rochester.
Near Rochester, just a little north.
Yeah. We've got Poland, Russia, Mexico, and Europa.
And he's a career expert as well. He has a bunch of resume do's and don'ts and tips to get noticed and secure a second interview. One of his biggest tips is if you're working at a location and you're making copies of your resume, don't leave them on the copy machine at your workplace. Never do that. Right? That's kind of a faux pas, wouldn't you say?
Or your grandma's critique of your resume. Don't do that either.
Nick Murphy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
Good. First of all, I want you to tell us the first time you had a chance to punt that ball away in the NFL. What was that like?
Yeah, it was a preseason game in Minnesota at the old Metrodome, and my heart was racing. And honestly, I actually dropped my first snap at Arizona State in college in the first game, so I was just trying to catch the ball and kick the thing and make sure we got it down the field. That was really it.
It is kind of interesting when you see the punters. The rules are on your side, but they're still always, roughing the punter or whatever the penalty is.
Yeah, because they're coming at you.
They're coming at you, and you are in a extremely vulnerable position.
Yeah, you're 15 yards back there. They're bigger, they're faster, and oh, by the way, you're kicking the ball to the most dangerous, fastest guy on the other team. You've got to go cover it. So
it's wild.
It's a little bit more than it looks like.
All right, I want to start on this. Today you are the host of the Job Lab podcast, and you can just search that, and podcasts are huge today. The question, are people lying on their resumes today?
Yeah, the data tends to say that, people have always lied in their resumes, let's be real, but I think the data is showing now that it's happening more and more as the labor market tightens and employment gets near full. If you don't have a job now, it's getting harder to get noticed if you are unemployed, and so people are taking that, unfortunately, and fluffing their resume or trying to find ways to differentiate.
I do think that there's a history of us fluffing our resume a little bit. You certainly fluff up the language, right, to make it sound like it's something more than maybe you really were. But I do wonder about, do you feel that the lies are getting bigger?
I think it depends. I think a lot of people, it's hard to fluff or create degrees that you don't have or areas of specialty in degree programs, but I think people do tend to fluff their experience or what they oversaw in their organization. I know salespeople are always known to exaggerate a little bit about what their quota was or how much they grew their book of business. Things like that are easy to fluff and hard to prove, so I think that's where you see a lot of the dishonesty.
So, Nick, in that regard, do you see a lot of, in your experience, employers not vetting these resumes or these candidates? They say, wow, this is really impressive, but then they never actually go and look into it?
It's hard to vet some of those things, right? You have your background checks, you have your systems that you run it through, but if you're an employer that might hire thousands of people a month, like some of these big companies do, you only have so much time, so many systems, and so much internal bandwidth with your talent acquisition and HR team to put these folks through. So a lot of them rely on really complex interview processes and multiple conversations and moving you kind of very slowly through the process, which is a little bit of a catch-22. You're going to catch more of the lies, but you're also going to lose a lot of good candidates that aren't that patient, that have other options that might go away. So it's a little bit of an interesting dynamic.
Okay, so a lot of college kids getting out of school now. I know that we have some graduations going on this weekend, as a matter of fact, and they're going to be out hunting for jobs. So, job hunting hacks for new college grads. What do you think?
First of all, just congratulations. Take a minute to enjoy that achievement. You're there, but at the same time, realize that you're kind of starting. Everyone has punched that ticket to the game now, and so as you look for your first application, if you're looking to attract the attention of an employer that you're really interested in, how are you going to convey the narrative of your story? How are you going to take what you've done, knowing how limited it is, and really pull out those achievements and put them into well-crafted bullet points in a resume? The best way to do that is make sure that you're actually customizing that resume and cover letter for the job, pulling out what you've done, and really trying to quantify the business impact. I think a lot of people get list happy and they start using bullets as like lists. Oh, I did this, or I served on this committee.
Yeah.
what's the impact of that? Because what's done is done. What companies care about isn't what you've done. They care about what's transferable in your experience and why that makes you a great, viable fit for their role right now.
How can people find your podcast?
Yeah, we are on iTunes. We are everywhere we listen to podcasts, iHeartRadio. Just search the Job Lab podcast with Nick Murphy. Or if you like some of these resume hacks and quick wins, you can text Never Settle to 44222, all one word, and you can get on our list where we send a lot of this stuff all the time.
All right, good stuff. Nick, thanks so much. We appreciate it. We'll be checking up on your resume here, and we'll get back with you.
Thanks. Sounds good. Have a good one.
All right, thanks so much. Have a great weekend. Thank you. We'll find out. Yeah, he played actually for the Kansas City Little Chiefs. It was a Pop Warner team.